Alrighty, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Last night we were live and we discussed the Green Bay Packers potential defensive line and edge targets. So if you are a Packers fan, go check that out. Today we have 4 Milwaukee Bucks games and 5 Milwaukee Brewer games to discuss. So we're gonna rip through these Bucks games and then get to the Brewers. So we're gonna hit the intro and get started.
Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatic Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so as I mentioned, 4 Milwaukee Bucks games in the last week, starting with the Bucks at the 76ers. Jake, you can give me your thoughts on Bucks 76ers. You're muted.
Muted because I was messing around with my laptop before. Still can't figure out my charger, so I might be abruptly taken out here at some point. But we're gonna get our thoughts out here on the Bucks quickly. We have to start with Giannis, right? In this game, especially. First ever player to have the stat line of 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 20 assists, a new career high for assists for Giannis. He had his hand in the cookie jar, and he was giving cookies out to everybody. Obviously, he was in a sharing mood. 20 assists is nothing to scoff at, especially from a 7-footer, man. That's impressive stuff. Taurean Prince, 13 points. Kuzma, I thought was very efficient in this game. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 6 of 10 from the field. Brook Lopez had a very nice game. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 7-11 from the field. Ryan Rollins did Ryan Rollins things. He was steady, did his thing. Don't really recall anything crazy from him this game that was, either egregious or super positive. I mean, 2 of 3 from 3 and 4 of 8 from the field is good. And I gotta say it, man. It's nice to see AJ Green have a good shooting game after a long slump, which felt like forever. He went 4 of 5 from the field. That was the same stats he had from 3. He started out the year that way where he shot all of his shots from behind the arc. Then teams kind of adjusted to him. He had to mix it up a little bit. One thing I am going to talk about later is I think he's done a really nice job putting the ball on the floor and attacking every once in a while. When people close out super strong on him and running him off the three-point line, he's done a nice job creating that way as well. I know we've talked about it. I wrote it in my notes as well. He's improving as a defender. Overall, I'll let you elaborate on that. But overall, I mean, this was one that the Bucks had to have. They started the game slow. They were down 39-25 to start this game, and then the Bucks answered with a 15-0 run. And obviously, big-time runs are going to be a trend this week. They start the week with a big-time run and end the week with a big-time run. All wins for the Bucks this week, back-to-back games with elite shooting numbers as well. So just an all-around good game for the Bucks. They had to have this one. I read somewhere that after this game, since February, I think it was 4th or 5th, the 76ers are they're 3-25.
I knew they were on a 10-game losing streak with this one.
Yeah, they're 3-25 since February 5th after this loss to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Alrighty, so the Bucks were 16 of 31 on 3-pointers. That's 51.6%. That's great work. AJ Green coming off the shoulder injury. He's been really good. He's 4 for 5 in this game from the 3-point line. It's good to see Kyle Kuzma hit some catch and shoot threes. He was 2 for 4. Gary Trent Jr. was 3 for 6. And Brook and Ryan Rollins were both 2 for 3. I do think on the subject of Ryan Rollins, he needs to let the game come to him a little bit. There's times where he's trying to do too much or he just gets a little bit careless with his passes. He's got skills. He's just got to let the game come to him a little bit. We had this conversation last week with both Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. just trying not to do too much without Dame. I understand, that there's a role to fill there, and I'll discuss, where we're at with those two as far as filling in for Dame goes when we get to after last night's game. But Giannis having his triple-double already in 23 minutes and 48 seconds is ridiculous. Only took him 24 minutes to get to a triple-double. Obviously finished with a career high at 20 assists, and 22 out of his 35 points came from the paint. He scored 10 on free throws, and he hit 1 3. So the 1-3 is a little bit of an anomaly, but other than that, he had 22 points in the paint and 10 free throws. That's where Giannis lives. I do think Kyle Kuzma, despite being -9 in this game, played good on both ends. 16 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, had 3 blocks and a steal. And I think especially in the third quarter, he was getting points off of just hustling, being a good cutter, making himself available to Giannis. He scored 4 points in the third quarter off of Giannis passes. Just like I said, making himself available, making good cuts, flashing so that Giannis has somewhere to go with the ball. I did see that from Kyle Kuzma in this game. And the 76ers were 3 for 12 when guarded by Kyle Kuzma. So overall, I think he had a good game despite finishing -9. It's just kind of why those, not every stat is the end all be all when it comes to stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
That said, Kevin Porter Jr. was +31, Giannis was +23, and AJ Green was +20. Spoiler alert for when we get to last night's game. But we can go from Bucks 76ers to Bucks Heat, the second game of the 3-game road trip. What stood out to you from Bucks Heat?
Yeah, so Giannis played back-to-back games and had back-to-back triple-doubles. This one, he scored 36 points, had 15 rebounds and 10 assists, still an efficient 13 of 21 from the field, so still doing his thing like he normally does. His 9th triple-double of the year, one away from tying a career high. They didn't count the triple-double that he had in the NBA Cup game, so technically he has 10, but he is only counted for 9. Brook Lopez, back-to-back good scoring outlets, 17 in both games. He had 5 rebounds in this one, 7 of 11 from the field again. So anybody who complains about Brook Lopez, who is protecting the rim and shooting efficiently, I don't know what to tell you. He's spacing the floor. He took 4 threes, made one of them. But really, the story of the game here is Kevin Porter Jr. 24 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. He came up big in the biggest moments in this game. Actually made a layup with 11 seconds left that gave the Bucks the lead. I still have no idea how he got to the rim and made that. That was amazing. This one went into overtime for those who don't know. The Bucks are coming off back-to-back games where they shot 50% from the three-point line, and this one they only shot 33%. So they weren't shooting as efficiently as they were the last 2 games from the three-point line, but they're still getting to the free throw line. That's one thing that the Bucks are always going to do. And yes, Giannis helps with that, but missing Dame, you wouldn't expect them to still get up to the 27, 29 free throw attempts, which they still are. So it's good to know that everybody's getting downhill and doing their thing, right? Another thing that got them this win was points in the paint. They dominated points in the paint. The Heat had 46 and the Bucks had 66. So you're plus 20 in that area. And I got to give a shout out. I was very critical of AJ Green, saying that he was playing bad because I felt like everybody was kind of scapegoating Brook Lopez at the time. Because it was right after the Chris trade, and we talked about it on here, and we said, where is the blame going to go? It's going to go to Brook, right? He was the next guy. It couldn't, yeah, and it couldn't be Bobby because Bobby got suspended shortly after. So I was starting to be kind of critical of AJ Green. He wasn't defending like he was beginning of the year. He wasn't shooting like he was. And in this game, he went 3 for 5, 2 for 2 from 3. So if you take his stats from the 76ers game and the Heat game, he had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 of 10 from the field, and 6 of 7 from three-point line. So he was starting to get that touchback, starting to look like the Dairy Bird, and the offense was following. He is an important spacer for this team.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr. was really the only guy that was really spacing for the team. With Bobby Portis out, Brook Lopez can only shoot so many threes. Damian Lillard out. I mean, you need other guys to step up.
Not a Kuzma strength.
Yeah, and I don't. Do you want to have that conversation?
I mean, we can. I mean, it's something we knew when the Bucks traded for him. We knew that he wasn't as good of a shooter as Chris, but we were trading for his energy.
I think we really need to have a Kyle Kuzma conversation, as I still can't get this goddamn charger to work. I don't know what's going on. We need to have a Kyle Kuzma conversation because we've talked about it before, and he shot 4-13 in this game, scored 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. But the thing we need to talk about is how he's been forced into roles where he wasn't originally supposed to be in. And we've had this conversation so many times. This is just going to be one of those things where we're going to have to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it until people kind of understand.
Let's put a pin in it because your favorite person made another comment about it.
Oh no, I already know. I saw. I'll let you give your thoughts.
Until we get to tomorrow night.
I'll let you give your thoughts, and then we can put a pin in it.
Bucks were 8 of 24 on 3-point shooting. 24 threes in a game went to overtime is a little surprising, but it's good to see them overcome a bad 3-point shooting night and still win. A bunch of guys, as far as not shooting great. I'm not gonna sit here and single people out. There's 3 games left of the regular season. Only 9 turnovers in an overtime game. That's pretty good. 14 points off of those turnovers isn't awful. You just need guys to lock in. There's a lot of lazy passes and lazy dribbles in this game that led to some really just kind of lazy turnovers. I will say Taurean Prince, after having a bad turnover after the Bucks won a challenge, got a steal on the next possession that led to a big Giannis dunk, so he kind of immediately redeemed himself, so I'll let it slide. Kevin Porter Jr. at the end of this game, too, made a crazy shot that I still can't really, put my mind together how he made it.
Mm-hmm.
The body control and the shot that he made, it's good to see the role players playing their roles. I think Kevin Porter Jr. did a really good job of letting the game come to him in this game. I think this game speaks to how a potential playoff rotation would look if Dame is not available, with Kevin Porter Jr. playing 39 minutes and Ryan Rollins playing 14. Now, I do understand that Ryan Rollins got into some foul trouble, but Kevin Porter Jr. was and still is balling.
Yeah, he's a tough shot maker, which obviously you need next to Giannis because he's going to be getting double, triple teamed.
So as we are in this stage where there's still 3 games left in the regular season and they are still hoping that Dame can play game 1, I think they're going to keep bringing Kevin Porter Jr. off the bench.
Yeah.
Just because that's the role that he's going to have in the playoffs if Dame is available. If Dame is not available in game 1 of the playoffs, Kevin Porter Jr. will start.
I see it.
You mentioned Giannis. He is the only 3rd player ever to have back-to-back 35, 15, and 10 games. You want to take a stab at who the other 2 are?
I'm going to guess Hakeem.
Nope. Got to go back farther.
Wilt.
Wilt is 1.
Why did I not start with Wilt? There's an NBA stat. Start with Wilt. Is it still that era?
A little bit after.
Really? I don't know, Bob Cousy?
Think of somebody who was kind of famous for
Oscar
being a
Robertson.
triple-double guy.
Oscar Robertson.
They go. That's the other one. So those 2 and Giannis are now the only players to have back-to-back 35, 15, and 10. You'd have people thinking that that's what Jokic averages if you watch regular media. I will say on the subject of Giannis, I will be completely honest with you. I did not like the shot that he took at the end of regulation.
That's fair.
I understand he's been better on mid-range this year, and he's the best player on the floor, but I think we are capable of getting a better shot than Giannis dribbling towards the baseline and putting up a fadeaway mid-range.
I agree. Capable, yes. And I know me and you are on Xbox, and I said that he's the best player on the floor, so I can't get too mad. We put the ball in our best player's hands. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm living and dying by in that situation, and that's what Doc chose too. Would I have maybe tried to draw something up where Giannis is going to the rim, and that's probably what I would have done. But you saw what happened. What game was that where Brook Lopez had to shoot that? Oh, the Suns game at the end of the game where the execution wasn't as great. I mean, even in this game, you could have got maybe AJ Green a shot or something like that since he was kind of feeling it. So
yeah, using Giannis's gravity a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's the best player on the floor, so I'm not mad at the shot. I just didn't like the shot that he took, not the fact that Giannis was the one taking it.
I agree.
As far as the role players playing their roles, like I said, Pat Connaughton, more efficient minutes. He played 14 and a half minutes. He had 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and he was effective on driving to the basket. I'm going to double down on what I said last week. It's not going to shock me if Pat Connaughton plays playoff minutes.
Me either.
And in this game, it was good to get Brook Lopez kind of a quote-unquote rest game. He only played 30 minutes, even if it was partially because of the foul trouble. Still gave 17 points on 7 of 11 shooting.
Yes, sir.
So good to see that from Book. We can go into the Pelicans game. Now, the Bucks rested Giannis for this game. It was the second of a back-to-back. And I believe that the Bucks rested Giannis because this was a game they believed they could win even without him.
I 100% agree.
Kind of a win-win situation there in my mind, the second night of a back-to-back, and he played 43 minutes in that overtime game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping we can get Brook Lopez a day off in the last 3 games, maybe tomorrow night even against the Pelicans.
Yeah.
If we can get Brook Lopez tomorrow night off, just because without Giannis, too many back cuts, second chance points, Brook Lopez can't control the paint alone. Bobby's back, so I'm not opposed to giving Bobby a start and letting him play 40 minutes tomorrow night. Totally on board with that. And then you let Brook and everybody get all ready to go by playing 2 games against the Pistons to end the season.
Yep.
The thing is, when you do have guys out, starters out especially, it does force guys from normally on the bench into your starting lineup, and that takes your top bench guys off the bench. So looking at Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. primarily, but also Pat Connaughton, who was out for this game as well and hasn't played since that Heat game, he's been helpful while Dame has been injured or blood clot, not necessarily an injury, but he's been pretty serviceable as a second unit guard, creating for himself and others. I will say with this game, and I'm going to say the same thing when we get to last night, I like seeing Kuzma going to the rim aggressively. He was getting some buckets, and it opens some things up. It opens up some good passes. He just didn't get assists on all of them, and he played good defense again.
Yeah.
So, again, we understand that we're not getting Chris Middleton from Kyle Kuzma. We didn't just get a younger Chris Middleton. That just wasn't going to be in the cards.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma has different skills. Stop comparing him to Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin Porter Jr. took 3 shots to the face in this game. He's tough to keep playing through it. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
The Bucks did. This was their last game without Bobby Portis. They did go 15-10 without Bobby. Not bad, not great, not terrible. It is what it is. 11 for 32 from the 3-point line, 34.4%. Again, that's not great, not terrible, not awful either. But is what it is. The bench was 2 for 8. Both of them were made by AJ Green. Now, 7 turnovers, very good. One was an offensive foul, so only 6 kind of major turnovers, I guess. And then only 6 points off turnovers allowed. That is excellent.
Yes.
Now, the last thing I want to say on this game, Bruce Brown put a pretty nice audition to come join the Bucks next season.
Yeah, he did.
So I will take him. He is an unrestricted free agent this summer. So Bruce Brown, come on up to Milwaukee. And I will
take
say,
Taurean Prince's spot.
What's that?
He could take Taurean Prince's spot after Prince.
He really could, and that's the thing is the Bucks are just going to keep doing these 1-year deals with 3-point defenders. It was Malik Beasley last year. It's Taurean Prince this year. It can be Bruce Brown next year, and he can give us some floaters.
Yeah.
I will end on a compliment. Pelicans, if you have fans, Antonio Reeves is a nice piece. He looks good. He looks like a good shooter. He was shooting well. He looks good.
I agree.
All right, give me your thoughts on the Pelicans game.
Yeah, so this is the Gary Trent Jr. game. Season high for him, 29 points on 10 of 17 shooting. Also 4 of 10 from 3, so he was letting that son of a bitch fly. The Bucks, you talked about turnovers before. You talked about how New Orleans had 12 and the Bucks had 18 points off those turnovers, so that was big time. We got to see Pete Nance in this game, talking about guys that got to play roles that we don't normally see. He looked pretty quick on defense. I don't know if he's going to give it to him on offense, but if he could just be a sometimes defender, pretty good move by Horst, in my opinion.
I mean, he's quick. He's big, young, quick. The only thing is he needs a lot of work on his basketball IQ, just being in the right place, making the right plays, making the right decisions. So if they think they can, put him in Brook Lopez's pocket for the rest of the season and the off season and be teach him every single thing you've ever learned. I see the potential there.
Yeah, and I see the vision too. So along with in the starting lineup, along with Gary Trent Jr. getting ushered into the starting lineup and having 29, Kevin Porter Jr. also started. He had 28 and 4. So if you go off his last 2 games, he had 44 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, 16 to 34 from the field, 5 of 7 from the field. And he had 2 steals in the last 2 games. I do also believe the combination of the Bucks winning that game on the road against Miami, and then the Pelicans with all the people that they have out. I mean, Zion and McCollum, and they traded Ingram, and there's just a number. I mean, Jose Alvarado, and there's just a number of players that they had out. Them winning that game in Miami, and then all the players out for the Pels. I agree, it was a perfect storm to get Giannis some rest, much needed, much deserved rest. With Kevin Porter Jr. getting moved to the starting lineup with Giannis missing, they needed the scoring punch. Ryan Rollins came off the bench, and he had a really good game, 14 points, 7 rebounds, a career-high 10 assists. His first career 10-assist game and his first career double-double. I do have one thing to say. That was a stupid shot at the end of the game.
Yep.
That was so dumb.
It didn't really – like this game was not as close as the final score would indicate.
It was 110 to 104 when he took that shot. And right after that shot, the Pelicans – what's up, Dan? How you doing? The Pelicans came down and hit a 3, and then they had a foul, and we made one free throw and the clock ran out. But
they made a 3 right before that too. So, like,
yeah,
you know, it was more like a 9-point game, and then they made that 3. Ryan took that shot, and then Scary Alvarez said the Bucks are better when Kuzma's riding the pine. Not ideal. I don't know that I like. Okay. So do you have anything else to say on the Pelicans game?
I did have one thing to say about the bench. I wrote down that the bench has been way better lately, and I think it has a lot to do with their pace. And you could tell in this game when it was basically a bench game that their pace was really, really high and they were playing really fast.
Okay. So we can move to the Timberwolves game, and Scary, what's up?
Yep.
It's good to see you. The comment, question, concern that the Bucks are better with Kuzma on the bench is not ideal. I don't know that I necessarily agree. So my point on Kyle Kuzma from the Timberwolves game was that I liked that he was being aggressive. He was getting no calls. He was being aggressive, like driving to the basket, and he could not get a single foul call.
Yep.
And he still finished 4 for 8 from the field. Also, he was the primary defender on Anthony Edwards. He was 2 for 4 against Kuzma. Taylor, welcome back. He guarded him for 35% of the game.
Wow.
So that's a big ask, and I know you made another point on Kyle Kuzma. I don't know if you want to throw that out there.
First point I'm going to make is we haven't really seen the Kyle Kuzma trade with everybody healthy. That's the first point I'm going to make. We don't know how it's going to fit when Bobby's in there and if we get Dame back and how that rotation is going to work. But I don't know why I have to explain this. Strictly from a size and athleticism standpoint, he makes the Bucks a better defensive team.
Yes.
He's long. He's quick. He gives them some flexibility financially. We get to keep a draft pick. I mean, there's lots of reasons why that trade was made. It's not just Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, which is what people are going to see at face value, and I understand that. But if you do your homework a little bit and you understand how this all works, you understand the flexibility that Milwaukee, all the flexibility they gained with this trade. And it was a good trade for the Bucks, and I agree. Kuzma is much better when he's going downhill. Yep. There's no question about it. He's not going to stand there and chuck up 8 threes and make 4 of them every other night. He's just not that kind of guy. We have lots of other guys that do that. That's Gary. That's Gary Trent Jr. That's Kevin Porter Jr. at times. That's AJ Green's job. That's Taurean Prince's job. That's not Kyle Kuzma's job. His job is to be a defender on the team's best player, cause some havoc, piss him off a little bit, and then he's going to go downhill and he's going to attack the rim with Giannis on fast breaks. That is literally what Kyle Kuzma's job is.
Yeah. And yeah, there's some points that he's going to have to be better, but the Bucks without Bobby Portis, without Giannis in some games, without Jericho Sims, he's had to play a shit ton of power forward and even a tiny bit of center.
Yeah.
now that we have Bobby back, I mean, imagine a lineup that has Giannis, Bobby, Brook, and Kuzma on the floor at the same time with Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to score. It's going to be real hard to score against that.
And they're going to attack you. They're going to come right downhill, and you're gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah. So I mean, you could throw. I mean, even if you wanted to throw like AJ Green in there with them, and have Giannis run the point and have Giannis, AJ Green, Kuzma, Bobby, and Brook. Like the Bucks with Bobby Portis back can make some huge lineups. So we don't know if we're gonna have Jericho Sims back before the playoffs or not. Still kind of waiting. Like he's out for tomorrow night's game. I know that. But going into last night's game, the Bucks did shoot. Scary Alvarez said, for context, I'm not a Kuzma hater, but I think he'd admit he hasn't played as well as he's wanted to. We'll see what happens. And he hasn't really been able to be settled in the role that they wanted him for.
The only metrics that he has not been down. Oh, hey, congratulations. I'm proud of you, Taylor. If you look at, the efficiency metrics, he hasn't been what we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm sick and tired of people being like, the eye test. You see all the tip passes he gets? You see every time that he cuts off a passing lane? Like, he's doing a lot of stuff that doesn't go on the stat sheet. And it's the same way I feel about Brook Lopez. Like, Brook Lopez does a lot of, sealing people off for Giannis to get to the rim. He does a lot of boxing out for Giannis to get rebounds. He does a lot of those little things that contributes to winning basketball. I mean, if you look at the efficiency numbers, obviously there's more to be desired. That's how I feel about that.
Right. I was just going to try to pull up his defensive numbers since the trade deadline.
All right. I'll just do my breakdown real quick. So what a game. Okay. Got to start by saying that. I have to get this up because I didn't want to write all these words down because it was so much. All right. So I found this when I was doing some research here. Milwaukee won its fifth straight and snapped Minnesota's 5-game winning streak by producing the Bucks' biggest fourth-quarter comeback since at least 1996-1997, when the NBA began tracking play-by-play data. The Bucks had lost their last 276 regular season or playoff games in which they had fallen behind by at least 20 points in the fourth quarter. They're literally 1 in 276, bro.
All right, that'll play.
I was like, that's too good to share. And that's also too much to write in this little tiny space. But in terms of Giannis' third straight game with a triple-double, that is the second time that has ever happened in Milwaukee Bucks history that a player's had a triple-double in 3 straight games. Last guy to do it, 2021 Giannis. Love that for us. Also gets him up to 10, which ties him for second most triple-doubles this year, tied with LeBron James. Which is crazy to say still to this point, because LeBron James was playing basketball and we were like 9 years old, dude. And now we have kids that are older than 9. It's wild. Yeah, that's just mind-boggling. And the most important part of this game, Bobby Portis returns. Oh, I was hyped all day at work yesterday. I was like, Bobby's back, baby. I was listening to I probably shouldn't say the word of the song, but, Bobby Shmurda, he has a song, Bobby B. I was listening to that all day, thinking about Bobby Portis coming back. I put the line at over under 15 points for him to score in his return. He scored 18 and grabbed 10 rebounds.
It's how fitting of him to have a double-double in his first game back, too, by the way.
Seriously. And then on top of that, he made some big momentum plays late.
He did.
He hit a big-time 3 when we were on our big run, our 23-0 run. He also had a steal that led to a Kevin Porter Jr. dunk at the end of the game. So he was playing defense along with playing offense. AJ Green, dude. The sack on this guy. The sack on this guy to pull up from 40, bro. In transition, I'm like, what is he doing?
Dude, Eric Name shared a screenshot of where Kevin Porter Jr. was when he was doing the little shovel pass, and he's like a foot behind half court when he's giving AJ Green the shovel pass. That's and AJ Green catches it like right inside half court, does his 2-step, and just launches that shit.
For him to shoot, I don't think people understand. For him to shoot that shot at that point in the game, when the Bucks were down by as much as they were, They had momentum. If he had missed that shot, everything could have been kaput.
Yeah.
Minnesota could have got a rebound, ran down, got a layup. Everything could have been dead.
Leads back to 8.
But instead, he makes that shot. The stadium's going insane. Everybody's feeling. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about that shot, dude. Like dead serious. I will say though, because a lot of people were dogging Gary Trent last night because he's up and down. He's a shooter, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why you would. Because last night when in the 2 threes that he made, he ended up passing another Bucks great and fan favorite, Michael Redd, for most 3-pointers off the bench in franchise history. So congratulations to Gary Trent Jr. His 4-point play was the thing that sparked the 23-year-old run. He made that. Kevin Porter made a dunk. Giannis made a play. Giannis made another dunk. What was after that? I'm going off the rip, dude. I'm not even.
So, okay. Gary Trent Jr., 4-point play. Kevin Porter Jr. drove and dunked on Dante. Giannis made a mid-range. Then they went back to their zone defense. Naz Reid was too little for Giannis, who dunked on him. They forced another turnover in their zone. Giannis hit a 3. They got another steal. AJ Green hit that super deep 3 that cut the lead to 8. Kevin Porter Jr. made 2 free throws. Bobby Portis 3, cut it to 3. Gary Trent Jr., I have this in my notes because I wanted to bring it up. This is one of the parts of the big run that's not going to get talked about. But there was a possession where the ball was kind of loose, and Gary Trent Jr. dove on the floor like 3 times and just kept poking it away. He just couldn't get, one step further to get the steal. But he made the Timberwolves waste a shit ton of time, so they were inbounding in the Bucks backcourt with like 3.6 seconds left, and the Bucks forced a shot clock violation on that possession. So Gary Trent Jr. needs to have some respect put on him for that possession, because him diving on the floor, poking the ball away, that took like 8 to 10 seconds off the shot clock.
Yeah.
So after that, the goaltend happened for Kevin Porter Jr. that cut the lead to 1. AJ Green tied it at 97 with another 3 in the corner. And then we get the Rudy Gobert pulling some shit. Scary Alvarez said no Trent Jr. 4-point play, and the Timberwolves almost certainly win that game, probably by a lot. The little things mattered. One of the most exhilarating Bucks wins that I can recall. Couldn't agree more. It felt like a playoff game. It really did. Yeah. So we get to a point where Kevin Porter Jr. gets switched onto Rudy Gobert, and he's trying to box him out. And Rudy's got him up under the underarm, and Kevin Porter Jr. chicken winged him, held onto his arm, and Rudy Gobert thought the best way to get out of that was to throw Kevin Porter Jr. So Rudy started it. I'll say that. Like, he was pushing Kevin Porter Jr. before Kevin Porter Jr. held onto his arm. So Rudy started it, but we get through all of that. And the only person that gets an extra technical foul out of the situation was Gary Trent Jr., who went to stand up for his teammate, which I appreciate.
He said a lot of naughty words.
Standing up for teammates. I loved that after that quote-unquote altercation, Bobby Portis literally took Kevin Porter Jr. under his wing.
Yeah.
And you can see Bobby Portis walking back to the bench with Kevin Porter Jr. under his arm, and that's an impact thing. That's a culture thing. That's a chemistry thing, and having Bobby Portis back is important for those types of things more than just what he does on the floor.
I agree.
So after that, with the Timberwolves up 1, Kevin Porter Jr. got back-to-back buckets. That's when Bobby dove on the floor. Gary Trent Jr. came up with it, threw it ahead to Kevin Porter Jr. for a push-in dunk. Then Kevin Porter Jr. got his own steal and got another dunk. And after that, another steal and a lob to Giannis.
That play was nice.
This was dude. Everybody's going crazy at this point. Like, everybody's losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And after that, so this is something that, again, isn't really going to show up in the montage of the whole game, but we're under about a minute left. There's about 40 seconds left, and the shot clock's winding down, and Giannis takes a mid-range just to get a shot off, and he misses it, and it doesn't hit it barely touches the rim, and underneath the rim comes Kevin Porter Jr., who grabs an offensive rebound. And the Bucks were able to take like 10 more seconds off the game clock.
Yeah.
So again, it does show up that he grabbed an offensive rebound, but They didn't get a score out of that possession, so like I said, it's not going to show up on the montage. But fourth quarter Porter is a thing.
Yeah. Shout out Taylor. Shout out Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor came up with the name Fourth Quarter Porter. Taylor, I made the graphic today. It's up. It's posted. The graphic.
You got to make that your profile pic, dude. Seriously.
Ooh, I might have to do that. I was going to see if I can show it here. Ooh, I can. So here it is, the Fourth Quarter Porter Wisco Fanatics graphic.
Yeah, that's nice. You did good work there, my boy. So,
all right, so Fourth Quarter Porter.
Yeah.
I have just his fourth quarter numbers. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 of them on the offensive side, 2 assists, and 4 steals.
I mean, 4 out of his 5 steals being in the fourth quarter is absolutely insane, dude.
That's awesome. He had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals for the game. Also, defensively, the Timberwolves shot 4 of 13 against him. That's 30.3%.
Jesus.
So he was two-way in it last night. And, I mean, we got to throw a little bit of respect on some of the guys in the Bucks organization. And first and foremost, it's John Horst for getting Kevin Porter Jr. for Marjon Beauchamp.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And secondly, they talked about this during the broadcast a little bit last night, but Doc Rivers needs a little bit of credit for what they're doing with Kevin Porter Jr.
I agree.
And they talked about instilling the confidence in him to play the way that he's playing. And I'm 1,000,000% guaranteeing that his teammates have a lot to do with it to hype him up. But we don't get to see all the practices where Doc is telling Kevin Porter Jr., like, these are the things that you can do. These are the things you're capable of. And these are the positions we're going to put you in. So putting Kevin Porter Jr. in a position to succeed, I don't think is something that's being discussed. And it should be. There's way too much of, look what I can find and try to point out of why Doc Rivers should not be the coach of this team next year. And not enough, like, not even trying to find the converse. Whereas the biggest one right now is Doc putting Kevin Porter Jr. in a position to succeed and him doing so. Last night, Kevin Porter Jr., AJ Green, and Gary Trent Jr. all played, and Bobby Portis, all played the entire fourth quarter. That's a coaching decision.
I'm so happy that you brought that up. Because people are talking and saying stuff about, Kuzma and Taurean Prince saying like, oh, guess who's on the bench for the whole fourth quarter? Yeah. Are you not going to ride the hot hand? Are you not going to ride the hot hand?
Miami game was the same thing.
Yeah.
Those guys made the difference. Like, why would you even entertain taking them out?
This goes back to the conversation of we don't have to knock other players down to lift other players up. We do not have to do that.
Thank you.
Why can you not just be happy that the team won? Players on your team that wear the jersey that you like to wear were playing and they won. That's all that matters.
Yeah. You know who was cheering for him the whole time?
Me.
Kevin Porter Jr. Or Kevin Porter Jr. Jesus, now I'm all messed up because people, whatever. Kyle Kuzma, Ryan Rollins, Brook Lopez, Damian Lillard. They were all cheering for those guys as they're all going crazy.
Me too.
Yes, and us. Like we were watching at the same time after we were finishing our Packers show. We got to see the end of it, which was awesome. We missed the whole part where they got down 24, and then we turned it back on for the whole comeback. So that was awesome. That was awesome. Giannis finished plus 26. Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr. finished plus 18. AJ Green finished plus 20. Again, why? These guys were all making contributions, and maybe not Bobby Portis quite as much, but like you brought up, he still hit that big three. He got a big steal. Give Brook a rest. Give Kuzma a rest.
Yeah.
These guys have been working their asses off with guys out for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're feeling it. Bobby being on the floor when the crowd sees number 9 on the back, they get into it. And Kevin Porter Jr. talked about it after the game, saying he's never heard the stadium like that. Bro, just wait till the playoffs, my boy. The energy in there is going to be unreal. Oh, if Dame time comes back, dude, the Pacers do not know what they're signing up for. And their fans are running their mouths that their team cannot cash.
Yeah. It's going to be we beat you last year without Giannis. Giannis literally owns your team.
Yeah. I'm not even we'll have that conversation in a few weeks. I had two things I wanted to say.
Okay.
So I texted you this morning about it, and then the Bucks decided to share it an hour later, and I was like, damn it, I wrote it down. I wanted to say it before they shared it. At the 10:39 mark, or no, was it 10:09? Either one. The Timberwolves had a 99.9% chance to win this basketball game. 99.9. That's literally as close as you can get to a guarantee. Over the last 10 minutes of this game, the Bucks outscored Minnesota 39-8. And the only thing I could think of, I was like, man, the Timberwolves are struggling on offense. They can't get anything going. Anthony Edwards is only a one-man show. This team could really use a good stretch big that could also get downhill. Almost like they traded that guy because they didn't want to pay him.
Whoops.
Sucks to be them.
I will say on that subject, I love Julius Randle shooting threes.
Oh, me too.
Love to see it. Let him shoot as many as he wants. Especially when he took one early in the shot clock with like 20 seconds on the shot clock and he jacks up a three. I'm like, hell yeah, love that for us.
All right. Hey, plus for us.
Not many things make me happier than seeing Julius Randle loading up to shoot a three.
That and the Celtics losing in the playoffs.
That's, yeah. The Bucks were 12 of 36 from the three-point line. That's meh. 11 turnovers is good. 13 points off turnovers is okay. Bobby Portis came back, and he was everywhere. All over the floor. He had the energy. He traveled a team-high 2.11 miles. So he was all over the place. This was also Giannis's third straight double-double. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Also had a steal and a block. And 0 turnovers. That's huge. Not even an offensive foul. So good job by Giannis on that. We talked so much about fourth quarter Porter, but Giannis had 13 points in the fourth quarter. One more than Kevin Porter Jr. So 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for him in just the fourth quarter. You mentioned the big outscoring. The last two things that I want to talk about on the Bucks, not necessarily specifically for the Timberwolves game. So that game is fantastic. I have two things to talk about. One of them is since Damian Lillard was out, his last game played was March 18th. The Bucks are 7-4 in that time. They're currently on a 5-game winning streak. There was a time where they were 1-3 without Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
So in that absence, Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins have very similar statistics, actually. Rollins has been playing about 25 and a half minutes. Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing about 24. So they're very close in minutes. Ryan Rollins is averaging 11.1 points on 51.2% field goal shooting and 50% from the three, which is awesome. He's averaging 3.4 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 1.1 steals in his 25 and a half minutes. Kevin Porter Jr. is averaging 13.6 points on 50.5 field goal shooting and 39.3% at the three-point line, which is not as good as Rollins, but still pretty good. It's above league average by about 3%. 4.9 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.1 steals. These guys they're doing pretty similar things, and they're both good on both ends of the floor.
I agree.
I honestly have no complaints the way the Doc is using them, and they're playing together at times. And when we get to the playoffs, whether or not Damian Lillard is available, they're both going to be a factor. I do think, like I said, if Damian Lillard isn't available in the playoffs, at the beginning of the playoffs, I do think Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be the one to start over Rollins, but Ryan Rollins he's going to play.
Yeah.
So those two guys have both been very good and helping keeping the Bucks above water. Good. Now, the last thing. So we need to have a conversation about coaches because the Grizzlies fired their coach about a week and a half ago, and the Denver Nuggets fired their coach which is still shocking to me. I still can't believe that Mike Malone got fired. Apparently, the head coach and the GM were kind of having some differences of opinion on how personnel should be used. Here's the thing. And it was wild to me to be reading through these replies and seeing this. Mike Malone was fired because his players weren't giving effort on defense and they had a 4-game losing streak. And people want Doc Rivers fired because they're not giving effort on defense and they were losing some games up until this 5-game winning streak. It was almost, seriously, it was like stripes. It was almost every other comment was he got fired because of defense and effort, and then it was Bucks. And then it was he got fired because they didn't play defense, and then it was Bucks should fire Doc and hire Malone. It's like, you realize that the things that people are complaining about Doc Rivers not getting out of his players are the reasons that Mike Malone got fired?
Yeah.
And you just want to swap them out? Why? I understand. If you want Doc Rivers fired for whatever reason, fine, whatever. We can have that conversation in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But there's better candidates.
That's for sure.
Find a better candidate if you want to. But my thing is they're not going to fire Doc Rivers and bring in Mike Malone, especially with 3 games left in the regular season, and have them try to teach a whole nother defensive and offensive system with 3 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Like, what? Fucking just think.
Yeah. That'd be nice if people would do that.
So we can have that conversation in the offseason. I'm fine with it. Whenever it ends, whether it's 3 weeks from now or whether it's in June. But the last thing I'm going to say on the Bucks, they play tomorrow against New Orleans. They play Friday at Detroit and Sunday against Detroit at home. The last thing I'm going to say is Kyle Kuzma, his defensive field goal percentage is 44.2. That is the second lowest on the team, only to Chris Livingston.
Holy
played 6 games since the trade deadline. Kyle Kuzma has played 30. His defensive field goal percentage is 44.2. So if you take out Chris Livingston, who is obviously not in the rotation, Kyle Kuzma is the Bucks' best defensive field goal percentage player.
Weird how that works.
Giannis is obviously not far behind at 45.5, but that's 1.3%. AJ Green is tied with Kuzma at 44.2%. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's doing his job.
Yep.
His role was not going to be as big as Middleton's.
Yep.
But that's not why he was brought here. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say on the Bucks before we switch to the Brewers?
Nope.
All right. So we can switch to the Brewers. Now we have a 4-game series against the Reds at home, and then we have last night's game, which was the first game at Colorado. So let's go to Brewers and Reds game 1. Now, I should have had this clip ready to go, but this was the Reds' 3rd straight 1-0 loss, and hearing their announcer say it is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see it, go to Twitter, look up awful announcing, and find the clip of the Reds announcer talking about this being their 3rd straight 1-0 loss. It's hilarious.
It is very funny. I highly recommend.
Yeah. Nestor Cortez was brilliant, had a brilliant bounce-back game. 6 innings pitched, only 1 hit, 2 walks, and one of them was a really, really good 3-2 pitch. Just missed the strike zone. Had 6 strikeouts, gave up 0 runs. It's it's fascinating to see the lengths that people will go to convince themselves that things are not in a good place. Because this game happens and people still think the Yankees game is who he is. I mean, the literal most recent example is showing you that he's a better pitcher than he was in that first game.
Yeah.
I want to thank Vinny Rattino for pointing this out, but last year in 31 appearances, 30 of them starts, he had 8 strikeouts total on his cutter. In just game 1 against the Reds, he had 4.
Jesus.
The Brewers pitching lab, and there's some crazy stuff, but the Brewers pitching lab is real.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously as Brewers fans know that, but the Brewers pitching lab, dude, they got to be studied. We need a 30 for 30 on the Brewers pitching lab ASAP.
I want it to happen in like 20 years when the Brewers have sustained success so nobody else can copy us.
It's fascinating to see what they do with a lot of these pitchers and how they're moving around, like the way that guys use it. And yeah, you're right, Taylor. And the usage of certain pitches, like the Brewers in general as a team are throwing a lot of fastballs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they just traded for a guy who had a highly graded fastball. And the Pirates, who originally had him, just weren't having him use his good pitches for some reason.
Well, there's a reason they're always in last place, Tyler.
There is a reason. That's definitely one of them. So when it comes to the trading for Quinn Priester, it's like, yeah, exactly. Use it when it applies. There's a couple things that go into it. And I'll just save this for when we get to, like what's next. But the Brewers pitching lab it's legit. Mm-hmm. Seeing what Nestor Cortez did against this game, the only hit that he gave up was a double to his former catcher who knows him.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting there. The Brewers, they were swinging early a lot in this game. Lodolo only had 18 pitches through his first 2 innings. I do like the approach. This was something I called for a lot last year, was swinging more at the first pitch. And then in the 4th inning, they started being a little bit more patient. Mm-hmm. They forced 29 pitches thrown in the 4th inning after only 27 in the first 3 innings total.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something they could do and kind of mess with pitchers. Go back and forth for 1 inning. They attack a good pitch if they like it early in the count, and then the next inning they go up and be super patient. I think that could mess with a pitcher.
Yeah.
I will say, I understand that the Brewers won this game 1-0, but we got to put some respect on Elvis Aguero. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle when we talk about how good the Brewers bullpen is, but his sinker is nasty, especially to right-handed hitters. It looks like it's going to catch the inside bottom corner, and then it almost dives so far that it almost hits their back foot. Like, that's how good his sinker is. And then he will put it on the inside corner, and then he pairs it with a slider that breaks away. Like, the stuff that he has is great. He just needs a little bit more polish on his command. But, I mean, Elvis Aguero's got great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Sal Frelick, facing a good lefty, did still have 2 hits in this game. Put one of an opposite field, and 1 pull hit. And the last thing that I will say is the contact play. It happened again. The running on contact, maybe not the best idea with Rhys Hoskins, but they did set it up intentionally. They intentionally set up the contact play. You had Rhys Hoskins at second base, bunted him over to third base with the intention of having him run on contact. Like I said, run that with, literally anybody else, just not with Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts from Brewers Red Game 1. Taylor, we were going to talk about take pictures to church when our pitching lab gets a hold of. Oh, man, just imagine if he's pitching on Sundays.
Oh, boy. All
right, give me your thoughts from Brewers Reds Game 1.
Yeah, so you hit everything on Nestor Cortez. He was fantastic. You also talked about the Reds' third straight 1-0 loss. It is the first time that a team has done that since the Phillies in 1960. I had to write down the names of the other teams that did it. The Pittsburgh Pirates did it in 1917. The Washington Senators did it in 1909. The St. Louis Browns did it in 1908. And the Brooklyn Superbas did it in 1908. So you're talking about teams that don't even freaking exist anymore for something of how much of an anomaly this is that it happens to somebody. I'm happy that it happened to the Reds, though. A lot of people are picking them to win the division early on. They've been doing that the last couple of years just because they have Elly De La Cruz. Oh, wait for an update on that guy. I got something to tell you all later.
Oh, good.
But honestly, wanted to give some love to Sal Frelick. The Brewers were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and Sal Frelick was the one that got the hit. He was 1 for 1. It was a 2-out hit. He got the RBI, gave the Brewers the lead, and they held on to it. He started the year very nicely. He has hits in 5 of the first 7 games. And in 2 of those 5 games, he has 2 hits. So he started the year nicely. He's being the contact guy that we know he is, and he's being a Gold Glover that we know that he is. And I have some more thoughts on the roster construction when we get to it, but just teasing you right now.
All right, going into game 2, we get to Tyler Alexander.
Yeah.
The Brewers were aiming to get 4 innings from him. He gave 5 2/3, and it was really interesting hearing him talk about it because after the game, he said that he watched Nestor Cortez's start the day before, and they pitched similarly, and he picked up a lot from his approach.
Mm-hmm.
So he threw some really nice changeups, some really nice cutters, and that again lends to the approach that Nestor Cortez took to the Reds order the day before. Mm-hmm. And I understand people are going to be mad. Why did you take him out when he had a no-hitter? He wasn't going to finish this game anyways. There was no point where Tyler Alexander was going to pitch a complete game no-hitter. Mm-hmm. It was going to be combined at some point. You were aiming to get 4 innings out of him. He gave you 5 2/3. Take the ball, say thank you, and hand it off. Like that's what we need to do here. So it was good to see the Brewers get more pitching. Not again out of another guy that they weren't really expecting to be in the plan. The Brewers are the 13th team to go from 0-4 to 4-4 in Major League Baseball history, so that's cool. The Reds did score 2 runs, but they were aided by an error and kind of a lucky double that bounced off of literal first base. If it didn't, I think Rhys Hoskins has a shot to make that play on the first baseline. The last thing I'll say on Game 2 is Bryce Terang extended his hitting streak to 8, got ahead 3-0, and on a 3-1 pitch hit a home run that he knew was gone right away. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to see the Bryce Terang sneaky power popping up a lot early in the season. So what are your thoughts on Game 2?
Yeah, just extending on Terang. You said 8-game hitting streak. It goes up to 11 during this game if you go back to last season. So good for him. Trevor McGill got his first save of the year, so happy for Trevor McGill. I think that he has potential to end the year with, I don't know, anywhere between 35 to 40 saves on the year if things set up nicely for him. And when the Reds ended up scoring on a sac fly late in this game, I believe it was the 8th inning, they ended their 35 innings scoreless streak. 35 straight scoreless innings. Imagine being a diehard Reds fan and you watch 35 straight scoreless innings.
Oh, man. I feel like this drive you insane.
Just scratch my eyes out, dude, at that point. Holy shit. When I read that, I was like, what?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Also have to say, Baby Blue is back. Love those jerseys.
Yep.
I know that the MLB is kind of ushering a new wave of City Connect jerseys for teams this year, but
not everybody had them in the first couple of waves, so the Brewers might not need a new one yet, unless they're just going to fully lean into that ball and grill logo, which is awesome.
Yeah, so they just need to keep the Brewers as it is because it's perfect. The grill logo, everything is perfect. Brew Crew, perfect. The colors, everything. Just don't touch it, Nike. You did a good job on this one. You brought up the 0-4 stat. They are the first team to do that since the 2021 Braves as well. So I wanted to add that in there. And from there, we go to the game that was on national television, of course. And this is the game that we ended up losing in the series, but it is what it is. Brewers lost this one 7-11. Reds started out just on fire. And the thing I'm going to say about Rodriguez is I see that he has some stuff. He has some stuff. He wouldn't be in the MLB if he didn't. He gives up way too much hard contact.
Yeah, he's got pitches that he can throw in the mid to upper 90s.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's tough.
He hits too much of the middle of the plate.
Yeah,
and you cannot be a fly ball pitcher in Milwaukee. I'm sorry.
Well, you can, but you need to be
with the hard
able
contact is where it.
Well, you need to be able to get at strikeouts too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Freddie Peralta is a fly ball pitcher.
That's fair.
But he racks up a ton of strikeouts too.
That's a good point. Yeah, just I don't want to dog the guy. That's not the way that we run our show. We're not just gonna sit here and drag the guy. He had a couple bad outings. At the end of the day, this is what I think. When we're fully healthy with our starting pitching, he's not going to be on the roster, and
We had that conversation last week. Like,
that's just what it is.
And the same kind of goes for Connor Thomas. Like, he was their Rule 5 pick, and he was kind of asked to just eat innings. He had a good sixth inning and a bad seventh inning.
Yep.
And it kind of, nobody's going to admit this to you, but it kind of felt like the Brewers were kind of just conceding this one a little bit. They're like, hey, we'll take this one on the chin for a shot to win the series tomorrow.
Yep.
That's kind of how it felt. And
Yeah,
Elvin Rodriguez, his spot in the rotation is due up again on Friday. That is the day that Quintana is eligible to come up. It does sound like Priester is going to be pitching tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll talk about Priester when we get through the Rockies game 1. But Elvis got the last 2 outs of the 9th inning, only 5 pitches. That shouldn't really affect his availability as far as going forward. So that was good to see with Elvis Peguero. But Elvin Rodriguez, and we've had this conversation with other guys, like Keston Hiura comes to mind, that some guys might just be AAA pitchers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of minor league baseball players, and not all of them are going to be professional baseball players. Like, they are
still getting paid to play baseball.
Yeah, but there's just some guys that obviously not everybody's going to hit and be a stud.
Yeah.
Like, if we have Tyler Alexander and Elvin Rodriguez, and we're looking at it and say, if one of those 2 guys can hit, we're good.
Yep.
And that's where we're at. So, anything else you wanted to say on that game 3 yet?
Yeah, just wanted to add in some RBI stuff. Yelly got his 4th RBI of the year in the 5th inning off a single. Frelick got his 3rd RBI of the year off a single in the 5th as well. Dunn, finally, he was starting the year pretty rough.
Yeah.
He had 3 RBIs in this one, 2 of them with 2 outs. He had a double in the 7th inning. Terang extended his hitting streak to 9 games and got his 2nd stolen base of the year.
On the second pitch of the game, too.
Yeah. On top of Frelick having the RBI, he also had his 1st double and 1st triple of the year. So
I'm going in deep on Sal Frelick in a minute here.
What's that?
I'm going in deep on Sal Frelick in a minute here.
Love it. Yeah, that's all I had on that game.
Okay. The other hit streak that was extended was Jackson Churio. He extended his hitting streak to 8 in the bottom of the 5th. But Sal Frelick, this man had 5 at-bats in the game, and the Brewers, again, they lost 11-7, but Sal Frelick is doing work. His first at-bat gets to a 3-2 count. It's a 99-mile-an-hour exit velocity flyout. Second at-bat, the pitcher was pitching him tight inside, and he pulled a triple. 97.9 exit velocity on a 1-1 pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Third at-bat, another 1-1 pitch. He was throwing more sliders in this bat, still by Singer. Pulled a single, 100-mile-an-hour off the bat. Under the right fielder's glove, got 3 runs in, got to third base on it. Fourth at-bat, a 2-2 count. He saw 4 different pitches before getting a second sweeper, pulled a hustle double, 96.8 miles an hour off the bat. And his last at-bat, he got down 0-2, worked back to 2-2, and had a bloop single that was 68.3 miles an hour off the bat. So 4 hard hits and a bloop single for Sal Frelick.
Interesting.
And people question why he's in the 5 spot. He's in the 5 spot because he can hit.
Yep.
He's not going to hit dingers, but he can hit. He can flat out hit.
Yeah.
Reggie, welcome back. So Brewers Reds game 4, the rubber match for the series win or the series split, and Chad Patrick.
Yeah.
21 pitches through the first 2 innings, only 80 pitches to go 5 1/3, gave up 2 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. His cutter was great, and his fastball, his 4-seam fastball, was more effective for it. He threw 36 cutters, 30 4-seam fastballs, and looking at his 2 pitches, this is where I'm saying the Brewers are having their pitchers throw more fastballs. The cutter is a type of fastball, so that's where we're at. There's a 5.7 mile an hour difference between his 4-seamer and his cutter, and then 8 inches more vertical break on his cutter that also moves an average of 7 inches more towards right-handed hitters.
Interesting.
So you see two pitches that look pretty much the same, and one of them is going 6 miles an hour slower and is going to come 7 inches closer to you than the other one.
That'll saw you off.
Fastballs. Like that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get Quintana, he's the similar way. Cortez is a similar way. These guys are mixing in changeups. Like Freddie Peralta is another example of a guy who's mixing in changeups. Like I'm interested to see what the Brewers are going to do with Quinn Priester.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about him, like I said, in a minute. I'm just going to keep teasing that. But give me your thoughts. Brewers-Reds Game 4, other than Chad Patrick. I mean, he was great.
Yeah. One of the things I wrote down for Chad Patrick is he did a really nice job getting himself out of a jam in the 4th inning. He had up to this point before the back-to-back loss, he had only faced one over the minimum. And he got a K on a 2-2 pitch, got one of the Reds hitters to chase and got a big-time strikeout, one of his 4 strikeouts on the day. And after that strikeout, I was like, oh, yeah, dude, this guy might be he might be this year's new face. He might be the guy.
He was the AAA Triple Crown winner last year, so
he was. Koenig did a nice job. Uribe has been excellent since coming off a suspension. And, Anderson gave us 2 innings, 8 innings, and the Brewers went 8-2. Going into RBIs here, Yelly had an RBI, a 2-out RBI. Jackson Chourio with 2 home runs on the day, has 5 RBIs on the day, which ties his career high. 3 of his 5 RBIs have come off of with 2 outs. He had a 3-run homer in the 4th inning that was with 2 outs, and he also led the 7th off with a home run. So guy's good.
Yeah. Back-to-back
days with Dunn contributing to the runs scored. So RBIs back-to-back days. All he needed to do was get the first one. Then it was going to be the floodgates. I wrote a few things down. In the last 55 games that the Brewers and Reds have played, the Brewers are – hang on. Let me check the stats here. Oh, 40-15.
Oh,
40-15.
Damn, I was going to guess 39. I was close.
You were close. 40-15. You've won 40 of the 55 games, dude. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
it is. Turang and Chourio both extended their hitting streaks, and they both had 2 hits in this game. Jackson Chourio's were a little cooler. They were hit a little farther, but Turang still got 2 hits. The team had 8 hits and 8 RBIs. Turang and Chourio had 4 of the 8 hits and 5 of the 8 RBIs. And I got 2 more things I'm going to say. One is a little discussion point. So when you and I were younger and there was that new era of Brewers baseball coming up, we had a cool second baseman and a cool left fielder. We're talking Ricky Weeks and we're talking Ryan Braun. I'm making this comparison now. Turang and Chourio are our kids' generation of Ricky Weeks and Ryan Braun. Like a cool second baseman, cool left fielder.
I was going to say, we need Bryce Turang to start carrying a little more swag, but
he's got a little swag. He wears the arm sleeve. He's got the platinum glove, man. That's a lot of swag.
He's got I wish he would not wear sleeves so much, because then you can see he's tattooed all the way up.
Yeah. That would be
like you can see the hand tattoo, but he's got tattoos all the way up, I think, to at least his elbow.
Yeah. Just had to make that call out, and then Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, that guy. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I'm just gonna say that. 2 for 16 in the series.
Oof.
No extra base hits. 5 strikeouts.
Damn. Only 5?
He was not good in the series.
The thing with Ellie De La Cruz, and this was really interesting, the 6th inning, Chad Patrick got the first out. Jared Koenig came in to face Ellie De La Cruz and Gavin Lux. He was mixing his 2 different types of fastballs and got both guys looking.
Yeah.
So love that for Jared Koenig. You mentioned Bryce Turang extending his hitting streak. He's the 7th player in franchise history to start a season with 10-game hitting streak. We know that he extended that last night's game.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Mitchell was put into the cleanup spot in this game. He had no hits, but he did have 2 of the 3 hardest hit balls of the game. In the 5th inning, he had a 110.6 mile an hour exit velocity on a line out that had an expected batting average of 880.
Damn.
And then in the third inning, he had a 108.3 mile an hour exit velocity ground out that had a 460 expected batting average. So Garrett Mitchell, though he didn't have any hits, still hitting the ball hard. And same with Christian Yelich. Like his 4 exit velocities, 103.7, 110.2, 94, and 102.4.
Mm-hmm.
So Yelich hitting the ball well, or hitting the ball hard at least, is usually a sign of good things to come. And now we go into last night's game. Brewers Rockies. This was happening during the Bucks' wild comeback. And Brewers, another win. I'm glad that they're playing in Colorado in April and not in August. So the ball shouldn't fly quite as far. But Freddie Peralta got in a little bit of hot water in the bottom of the third inning. He gave up a solo shot and then back-to-back walks, and then he did get out of it with no more harm. Much safer than if it were to be the other way around.
Mm.
So, Freddie Peralta gives up a lot of home runs, but thankfully they happen when guys aren't on base. If he gave up back-to-back walks and then a home run, this game is, instead of 4-1, is 4-3. And that feels a lot different.
Yep.
He did retire 6 straight after those back-to-back walks and finished with 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 walks, 1 earned run, and 6 strikeouts. He did only have 83 pitches, but I do think the walks were a factor in Pat Murphy taking him out of the game.
Yeah.
Also, he pitched very well his previous 2 starts, so you give him a little bit of a rest. He gave you 5 innings. That's what you needed.
Yep.
Top of the 5th. We are in a situation where Jackson Churiel leads off with a triple, and Christian Yelich and William Contreras are the next 2 guys to bat. We need a ball in play. We need a ball in play out of those 2. Now, I will say Freeland, to his credit, did a really good job mixing his stuff up, but Christian Yelich is a former MVP, and William Contreras is a reigning Silver Slugger. We need a ball in play. I don't care if it's a ground out, if it's a lazy fly ball. It doesn't matter. Anything, basically, any contact outside of a ground ball directly to the pitcher is going to score Jackson Churiel from third base. So that situation, we need contact. We need a ball in play from Yelich or Contreras.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 7th inning, Bryce Durang's home run extended his hitting streak to 11. It was the longest home run of his career at 444 feet, and it was his first career home run off of a left-handed pitcher.
Nicely. Hey, getting both those milestones in one swing. Nicely done, Turang.
That was very surprising to me that was his first homer off a lefty.
Yeah.
Loved seeing Yelich and Contreras go back-to-back after that, too. I'll let you talk about that a little bit more. But the bottom of the 7th, the Rockies got a leadoff, quote-unquote, double.
Yeah.
It was kind of a blooper that was hit into the no man's land.
Yeah.
In my mind, one of the outfielders needs to make that call.
I agree.
And it's easier for an outfielder coming in to make the catch than it is for an infielder going out. And somebody's just got to be a little bit selfish and be like, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, and in this game in general, it should be the center fielder in this situation. Yeah. Like the center fielder, he's like the shortstop of the outfield kind of situation. You know, the guy that kind of does it all. And in this specific situation, I think Garrett Mitchell should have been the one to make the call and make the catch.
I agree.
So I'd like to see Garrett Mitchell be just a little bit more aggressive in the outfield in that situation. We know he's a great defender. But just in that situation specifically and in general, I think the center fielder should be the one to make that call. My last thing with this game, Nick Mears, first game back, he looked really good. And Brian Hudson looked more in control of his stuff. So it was good to see both of those guys out there and pitching well. So what did you take away from last night's game?
So I'm going to start off by giving a shout out to the Rockies right fielder who made his MLB debut and also got his first hit. His name is Zach Veen. So, I like congratulating people when they're doing stuff. He's living his dream. He was probably enjoying it, probably wanted to win in his first game, but I'm happy for him, man. He was probably super happy. That was a dream come true for him, something that he worked really hard for.
All right, nice.
And then I'm going to go to a generational guy who's young on our team, and I'm going to talk about Jackson Churiel. So Brewers coming into this game are coming off their first off day of the season, by the way. We just started playing baseball, and they're just like, yeah, you guys can just play every single day.
Yeah, and lose 3 of your pitchers along the way.
Yeah, go ahead. A day after Churiel had a 2-homer game, the guy just decides to have a double, triple, and a steal. His fifth double of the year, which is insane. Guy's about to have 80 doubles. He got his first triple and his first steal. So, I mean, my goodness. Now, you wanted me to talk more about Yelly and Contreras because this was actually pretty funny. After we got off the Packers podcast, which you guys should go definitely check out, we did D-line and edge rushers last night, so a lot of good information that was put out yesterday. We decided on Tuesday nights that we play Xbox for an hour and a half maybe, and we just kind of just be dudes, right? We talk sports, and then when we play video games. I mean, that's the most dude stuff I've ever heard of in my life. As we're on Xbox, I'm talking, and when we're just talking ball, and I'm like, man, Terang and Churi are on fire. They got an 11-game hit streak and a 10-game hit streak. Can you imagine what this offense would do if Yelly and Contreras get hot and then they just decide to get back-to-back home runs? And I'm like,
right after you said that, it's like, hey, there goes Yelly, had a boy.
And then Contreras, and I'm like, bruh, I should have complained about this like 3
I know,
games.
but I'm like, hey, say Reese Hoskins needs to get hot.
Yeah. And then he got a hit after that.
Yeah, he had 2 hits last night.
So this offense, man, they scored 8 runs, 7 runs, 7 runs. I mean, this offense is very close to exploding, in my opinion. If those 3 get on fire, that's the meteor order. If they get on fire, man, this is about to be the real deal for the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to get healthy with some pitching. I don't think people understand. And the Cubs are playing good baseball right now. I will say that. But the Cubs-Brewers series this year are going to be some big-time baseball.
Yeah. So, looking at what's next, the Brewers have 2 more games against Colorado. They have 3 games in Arizona. That'll be a good early test for them. And then they have 3 games versus Detroit. So we will have only 3 Bucks games, but we will have 3 Brewer games next week. Now, getting on the subject of Quinn Priester before we get out of here, seeing what he does well, looking at what he throws well, he's got a pretty good sinker, a pretty good slider, a decent changeup, an okay curveball, and a 4-seam fastball that needs work. Now, you would expect that looking at the pitches that he throws well, that those would be the pitches that he throws the most. The sinker is the pitch that he throws the most. The slider is the next. He only throws the curveball 14.5% of the time. When he was a prospect, he had a 60 grade curveball. So 80 is the highest that's graded on a curve like that, 80 being the highest. He had a 60 grade curveball, only throwing it 14.5% of the time. That seems a little odd to me, but, again, we're talking about the Pirates, and then you have the Red Sox. But, again, the Red Sox really aren't known for developing pitchers either. They're much more known for developing position players. So looking at his usage of stuff, it seems like he should be using the curveball a little bit more. Obviously, the sinker slider thing, I think the Brewers are probably going to be working on his fastball, and they're probably going to be working on his changeup. So he's another guy with 5 pitches, and what I've read is that reportedly they were interested in him when he was drafted. He went, I think, like 8 picks before the Brewers pick a couple years ago. And now they have him in the organization. So the other part is that the Brewers had to give up a lot to get him because they're in a position of desperation. They're running out of starters. Quintana will be up soon. Myers will be up in about 2 weeks, probably. Woody maybe at the end of the month. So we're getting reinforcements, but this is a 24-year-old. So we're talking about, we already have Nestor Cortez, who's done after this year. We have Jose Quintana, who's on a 1-year deal, and Brandon Woodruff is a free agent at the end of the season. So grabbing another starter, 24 years old, that you believe you can develop, I think is a move that I trust. Also strongly trust the pitching lab.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. The Brewers gave up a compensatory pick, and they still have a lot of picks next year's draft. I believe they still have 4 in the top 58 of next year's draft, or this year's draft. So they still have a lot of draft picks, and from what I've heard, this draft is perceived as a somewhat weaker one as far as upcoming drafts are concerned. So interested to see what Quinn Priester's first start looks like. It's going to be in Colorado, so even if he gets into a situation where he gives up some home runs, I'm not going to freak out about it. But we'll see what happens. I believe he's scheduled to pitch tomorrow. So we'll see Quinn Priester tomorrow, and then he should be back. He should be making his second start for the Brewers when they're home against Detroit. So looking forward to that. So like I said, 3 Bucks games next week, 8 Brewers games. We had 5 this week. 8 Brewer games next week. So a very Brewer heavy episode next week. And then join us Tuesday night. Tuesday night is the next installment of our draft series. We are doing cornerbacks on Tuesday. So we're each going to have 15 corners to go through, giving our top 15, and we'll each have a couple to highlight. So join us for that on Tuesday night. And then join us again next Wednesday for more Bucks and Brewers. So we will see you guys then.